also think in the same note of the language that we use with other people, it also matters the language that we use with ourselves, right? For example, before I do any podcast interview, I used to always be like, oh, they make me so nervous because I have to make sure the tech is right and they have the link and that the person's going to come in and it's going to work and is the conversation going to flow? And instead of saying I'm nervous, I instead would say I'm excited. I'm excited for this podcast. I'm excited for the conversation that we're about to have. And that, for me, makes me actually feel excited. Like, okay, I'm hype. I'm ready. We going like have a good conversation. So the language that I use internally with myself, I have to be really intentional about.
Yes, I agree with you. That's the first conversation. So getting to that language, I begin my day, the morning, I have a non-negotiable morning routine, and it can go from 5 minutes to 50 minutes, right? Depending on where I am. Like this last week, I was in the room with my sister in the hospital room, sleeping next to her. So something will happen. They'll come in. I'll have my alarm set to get up and do my time. But if they got to come in and, get her an IV or a medication or something happens, my time is thrown off. Right. But I can always then shift and do 5 minutes and come back and do the other things later. And my morning begins with something that realigns and sets my mind to this day is going to be the best day ever. Every single day, I start my day by telling me this day is going to be the best day I ever had in my life. I start every day like that. And people are like, do you smile? Like, how do you smile like that? Because I decided to this morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We forget that every day, by nature, humans are negative. We are conditioned. We are biologically, physiologically conditioned to be negative because that's what keeps us safe. That's why fear feels so real, because the fear is our reptilian brain trying to get us to run to safety. So when people, in order for you to be successful, you must face the fear, because success requires that you go outside the comfort zone. And the minute you step out the comfort zone, you feel fear. So in order to have success, you must manage and start to make fear your friend. You must dissipate the feeling of, like you said, being nervous and anxious and turning it into excitement and anticipation.
Man, it's real. Fear is very, very much real. Oh my goodness. And people like to be comfortable, and that's what separates successful people and non-successful people, is the people who are willing to step out into the fear. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. And if I don't get it right, I'll learn. It's really, I think, to be a successful entrepreneur and to be someone who is successful in what they want to do, there has to be a level of positivity, a little bit of optimism that we have to cultivate. How do we do that? For people who we start as negative, like that is our default, how do we shift to positivity?
Okay, great question. And just to give you background, I was angry. So I come from alcoholism, abuse. My mother had a second husband who had a lot of alcoholic men over, so a lot of unsavory things happened to me. So by the time I was a teenager, my self-confidence was shredded, and anybody looked like they liked me, I would just fall for them. Or by the time I got to be, that's how I ended up incarcerated by the time I was 20, following some, guy. So again, how do we get to this place that you're talking about? Is that you get clear. So I was angry, I was frustrated, and getting positivity. So I would take delight in making people feel bad. Like I would take delight in shredding people. I used to, I was so hurt on the inside that all I could do was give more hurt to other people. And it just didn't. And what I found as time went on, it just magnified my hurt to the place where I had suicidal ideations. right? And so the work that I've done in life was, once I got on the other side of that, was to realize that what I really wanted was, I wanted to find joy and satisfaction. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to enjoy my life. You know, and the biggest thing I wanted more than anything was not to care what other people thought about me. That was eating me alive. I would be driving in sales. I was a sales rep and I had a territory, and I would replay conversations from weeks ago and feel awful, like the conversation just happened today, and I was replaying. And so you think about the life of conversation and choices. I was just berating myself day in, day out, and I was tired and I was overwhelmed and I was just exhausted. And I was like, life was not, it just didn't seem like life was worth living. And that's how I ended up, you know, going and seeing, at the time I saw a psychiatrist and counselors, and I found other ministers. So I found a way, because, you know, my background in faith, I literally, as much as I thought about killing myself, I couldn't, and that was killing me. It's like, So if you're too pumped to kill yourself, you got to get over this, because this is miserable.
You got to figure something out.
So when I tell people they see me smiling all the time with joy, I will honestly, I have experienced both sides of this life, that joy and misery are just the same amount of work. It's just that this side is fun. Doesn't mean that I don't have challenges and problems and setbacks and disappointments. I don't sit and stew in them. I assess them, learn from them, and move on. Whereas the other side, you sit and stew in it, and it eats away at you. So again, positivity is work, and it starts with, why does positivity matter to you? When you are positive, what are you going to create? Are you going to get a better job? Are you going to get married? Are you going to have kids? You're going to have a better life? Why is it important for you to have more positivity? Just saying you want it is not enough. You have to have a clear vision of what that looks like, what your life is going to look like. So every time you second guess and you drift back into negativity, your mind will go, no, we've decided we're creating this. So it compels you and moves you emotionally, energetically, to go towards the positivity. Without the North Star target of where you're going, you cannot hold positivity, because your body, your energy, your physicality is being drawn into negativity every single day you wake up. As soon as you wake up, the first thought in your mind was like, oh my God, I'm tired. I can't believe I have to go to work. You think about all the stuff you have to do and you didn't do. You immediately snap into negativity as soon as your eyes open. That's why having a morning routine where you recalibrate back to positivity is how the most powerful thing you can do to start your day.
I have a morning routine that I am proud of. Seriously, because it started in the pandemic. I didn't like my job that I was working at the time. And so I'm like, if I have to go to this every day, then I need to wake up a little bit earlier to do what I need to do to be happy before I start the day. And so I would start with meditation and journaling and just really clearing my head, because I'm not going to sit here just saying I hate my job and wake up at the last second and roll out of bed and start work, and then I'm miserable all day. You know, like, I wanted to control my happiness and not let the job control my happiness.
Absolutely. So what are you journaling? I'm curious, because I have so many people who hear me talk about journaling, and they're like, what are you? I'm like,
what do I journal?
Berries.
Oh my goodness. My journal is, it's like my own book and my own personal thoughts. And I journal what I'm feeling. A lot of times there will be seasons in my life where I just have a lot of feelings. And I'm like, you know what? The only thing I could do is really journal it out. And sometimes it's as basic as, I feel X today. Sometimes it'll be, hey girl, I haven't talked to you in a while. Let's catch up on what's been going on. So it's really, sometimes it's a check-in. Sometimes it's, this is this situation and this is how I feel about it. Like, maybe I could have handled it differently. Sometimes I'm in seasons where I feel unmotivated, and so I'll use journaling as a way, or discouraged. And I'll use journaling as a way to say, okay, but you did this, you've accomplished this. You need to reflect on what you've done well to remind yourself that you're doing okay. So journaling is my solution for almost everything.
Oh, that's absolutely, I love that. See, and anyone listening, hear what she just said. People are saying, "Oh, I tried to journal and I can't." The one thing that you heard, the common thread, is that looking for a result at a certain date or time, you're judging yourself.
You're
The goal
judging.